Alright, real quick I just want to go over the build for tonight's Pauper, Pauper Daily. I'm actually doing this after the tournament, because I forgot to do it beforehand and realized that I've changed decks on you guys, and I thought I would just go over my build. I mean, this is Affinity, it's not too creative, but just in case. I've got it sorted by color here, but probably should sort it a little differently than that. So the key cards in Affinity are the Carapace Forgers, the Mirror Enforcers, and Frogmites. Frogmite is basically Frogmite usually costs 1 on turn 2 or 0 on any other turn, and the goal of Carapace Forger is to have a 4/4 on turn 2. Which is, I mean, 3/3 is like the like Lightning Bolt does 3 damage, and a lot of stuff, a lot of creatures are 3/3s or 2/2s or similar in Pauper. So a 4/4 is basically pretty much royalty. Same goes for Mirror Enforcer. Usually is pretty cheap, and there's lots of artifacts, so it's not that hard to get them into play most of the time. You get an added bonus of having a lot of colorless stuff. Protects you from stuff like Guardian of the Guild Pact and some of the other stuff. I've added to those Somber Hover Guard, which is a little bit unusual. Some Affinity decks don't have it at all. I like it because it's good against White Weenie, trades with a lot of flyers. It can break through ground stalls against some of the creature decks. Things like that, but I think this slot is definitely up for debate. These 12 slots are not up for debate. The mana is fixed by 4 Springleaf Drums and 8 different Chromatic Star type stuff. Chromatic Star is the best because you draw a card whenever it dies, whereas if you look closely you'll see Chromatic Sphere, you only draw it when you use it to the mana ability. So if the Chromatic Star dies for some other reason, like you sacrificing it to an ATOG, you still get to draw a card, whereas with Sphere, that's not true. Terrarion's a lot harder to use for mana than Chromatic Sphere is, but it also has this effect where it also has the effect at the bottom where whenever it dies you draw a card, and that's occasionally very useful. And sometimes it's nice to fix 2 mana instead of 1. Thoughtcast is basically divination for a blue, and that's what keeps this deck going longer than most. This deck is basically Zoo. It's got some burn, some reach, a little bit of card advantage, and a bunch of oversized, undercosted dudes that tries to get you there. ATOG obviously gives you incredible reach. Sometimes your opponent will tap out and you can go all in. Disciple of the Vault plus a TOG basically deals damage equal to the number of artifacts you have at any time by sacrificing them, so you can steal games with that. The sideboard you can go a lot of different ways. I do not own Gorilla Shamans, which are excellent for the mirror because they can destroy lands, so I'm playing 3 Ancient Grudge. I think if I had Gorilla Shamans, I would probably play the 3 Gorilla Shamans, but I do not think the Gorilla Shamans are so much better than Ancient Grudge that they're worth 5 tickets or whatever they cost. So going with the Grudge. Grudge is a little better against things like Bone Splitter and Razor Golem and stuff like that, but I think Gorilla Shaman's much better in the mirror. Against Empty the Warrens combo, you have Kark Clan Shaman. Kark Clan Shaman is also decent against Weenie Swarm decks like Goblins. Scar is for Infect. You can put counters on the Glistener Elves and Blight Mambas and stuff like that, and even if they have a pump spell, they can't really get around that. So that combined with the Galvanic Blast and stuff usually gives you enough gas to get through that matchup. Hydro Blast is kind of just in there. It gives you some game against a burn deck. It's okay against Blue-Red Post or Goblins, I guess, if you play it, or Red-Black, like a Value Town deck. There's a lot of red stuff out there, and it's also good because the best card against you by far is Gorilla Shaman, so it's 2 additional ways to kill Gorilla Shaman. And these Reaping the Graves are good against control decks for the grinded out stuff like Black Control, or I know when I was playing the mono black deck, this card was really good against me. I could see cutting it to play something else like some Pyroblasts or whatever, but that's pretty much the idea. 17 lands, all of them are artifacts. I could see running 18. I could also see running the 18th land in the sideboard, maybe in this slot, which sounds weird, but most people go after your lands post-board with either Gorilla Shaman, Ancient Grudge, Smash the Smithereens, or what have you, and that's a good way to fight against that. And I think through tonight's games you'll see kind of how post-board the dynamic changes to where you have to play around different kinds of hate, and I hope you enjoy.